What's up, Coug Nation? It's Chad Kebba. We got Joel. We got Kyle in the house for Palouse Playbook Podcast. But hey, we're here to talk a little bit of WSU JMU. We got the 5-5 Cougars taking on, depending on what poll you're looking at, but a top 25 team in the nation. Offense is up first. So I want to get really just Kyle, give me your thoughts on this offense, how we match up as Cougs versus maybe JMU's defense and maybe a player of the game. Let's start talking through it.
I mean, I think you look at JMU, and I think they're just overall a good team. You're not a 9-2 squad if you're not good, right? And so, you could try to nitpick left and right. They're a good team, and again, the record reflects that. I think even some of the opponents they've played shows that as well. So beyond going into the specifics, I really think it's going to come down to, for me, it's three keys: turnovers, what we do on first down, and what I mean by first down is, do we pass the goddamn ball on first down? Or a play action. I mean, hell, give me a screen. I mean, it's close enough to a run at that point. And then the last part is, how do we get ourselves in manageable third downs where we can be a little bit more, again, I think for me, it's the mystique of our offense or the lack thereof. And when we can kind of get a team going, I don't know what's going to happen this next play, as an offense, you've won. When you can get a defense on the heels where, again, and you look at the beginning of the year with Potter, where it's third down, it could be third and short or it could be third and long. Those defensive linemen were going, I'm just going to go for him because I know he ain't giving it to anybody else. I am going to go absolutely nuts on him. Now with Zevi, it's a little different because he does have the mobility and he has the desire to run if need be. But I think it helps for him. And I think he's healthier. I think last week was a really good example of him being able, to me, it looked like maybe an ankle because he was not thrown off his back foot as much as he had been in the weeks. Yeah. Also, our linemen, we had three of our 5 starting linemen in play. And just that alone was a massive change. Huge. Yeah, I mean, it's just insane how much different it was. But the third down, the manageable third downs to me is going to be another key one. And I personally would love to see Angel in the third down situation as a scat back, putting him in option routes. Again, I know we might be the 4 people, including Gavin, that are rooting for Angel, or think he's got it. I think he does. It's just getting him in positions where he can actually make plays. And for that guy, get that guy in space and let him go one-on-one on somebody.
Yeah.
But those are kind of my 3 things with the offense.
You just need to start seeing a spark, right? And I think we've seen it from Josh Meredith. At times, Freeman showing up. At times, Voorhees really, mostly in the red zone, really being electric for us. But, we're number 117th in scoring offense, 119th in rushing. You told me at the beginning of the season with what our mindset was going to be as an offense, well balanced, and historically what it was like at South Dakota State. You have to imagine that with our offensive line getting better, that we're going to start trending in the right direction. I'd love to see us start really establishing the run with our running backs. I like that little wrinkle with Zevi. I like it in certain situations. I'd like to see running plays where you're running a little bit of scat back and you're just having the running back standing back there. Love to see that wildcat. I like, we had a little bit of wrinkle in that. I don't know. It was a couple home games ago. Trying to remember the opponent. It might have been Toledo where we had Voorhees at the end of the game where Zevi went an option to the outside and then Voorhees just took it in right from there. I'd like to see a little bit more of a wrinkle in that and establish that run. Because I think we have that 3-headed monster really at that running game where you can rotate it. And one thing too is just, can we find a receiver in the middle of the field? It's
we call play.
It's the distribution of the ball too. A lot of balls are going to the outside, and I feel like it's becoming a little bit predictable to defend. And really, JMU defensively match up. They're a really strong unit. They're 11th in points per game allowed, 5th in total yards allowed. So it's going to be a real test, boys. It's going to be a real test, and I think it's going to come down to really owning that possession, like the time on the clock, you really have to own that. I think it's going to start with having a strong run game because it's going to be a low scoring ball game. Like we're going to get ahead of this over under thing. I think it's going to be a low scoring ball game. It's going to be a barn burner a little bit. I get excited as a defensive guy myself. But I think this is going to be a tough matchup on offense, but it's going to have to start with establishing that run. But I know, Kyle, you probably don't like that.
Yeah, no, right?
I like offense, and I hate to say, like, if you want to run the ball on first down, by all means do it. But it's like, and hold my beer, as Danny Freund would say, I can do that. I've done it all year, but it's
literally,
and it's changing maybe the concept of the run. Okay, let's show empty, and then bring a guy in motion and have him go on, on a fly, or just some. I just don't want to see the, hey everybody, I'm reading the playbook for nerds or whatever. They say just to do the catch and dive handoff. To me, it just gets annoying, and it's not even annoying. It's just, if I'm seeing it as a guy sitting on a couch here watching a football game, I'm sure JMU or every other opponent probably knows it too, and probably much more than we do. So it's, and it's, I guess you can always look at that too. Of, are you setting something up? Because I love that first down going, all right, we're going to go into our lazy lull dive, pull it, hit a shot over the middle.
Yes. And yeah.
I don't know.
I agree.
Yes.
And it's funny because we're all saying the same thing. The weakness that I see in their defense, because you're right, they're stout, but the actual weakness they have, where they've been, other teams have taken advantage of them when they've had success, like Louisville, and believe it or not, even like Georgia State. Is actually their close range, like in the middle. That's where they give up a lot of yards. Is this having the running back leak, that check down man, or having the tight end come across, or the drags with those slots? If we would actually do that, we would get some plays. I mean, the fact is, most defenses now on first down, they just roll everybody down. They know, okay, Wazoo, they know we're going to run it. So let them do that. Let them come up and then dump over the top of them. Their linebackers, they don't rotate as much as we do. And you could tell. I was like, so the times where their defense has failed, it's been over the middle. Those short dump passes over and over again, it adds up.
There's one play I wish I want us to see us run. And for Coug fans that remember a certain UCLA game a few years back, that I'm still in shock that we lost, up 32 points. There's a running back named Demetric Felton for UCLA, and he ran this beautiful route out of the backfield that I've seen it in the pro game, but it's a route where it looks like they're going to run kind of an arrow, a quick out, and they immediately break it back inside once that defender turns his hips. Yeah, and it comes right in, and he took it for like a 60-yard touchdown. And I sat there and went, damn, that's a good play. I just see, to me, I see Angel Johnson. It's like, that guy's fast. The guy is fast. Why don't you just, I don't know.
Get him in space.
Go in trips formation, option him to the left side of the field and say, dude, just run as far as you can, Zevi, zing it out there and see what happens.
Yeah, it's easy to say this because it'd probably be like, if I had nobody in front of me, I could obviously run for 5 yards and maybe get a first down. But it just seems like Angel, like every time he gets the ball, there's a guy in front of him. It has the worst luck. So I'm hoping we can start utilizing his strengths and our weaknesses, and seeing that our offensive line has been a little banged up. We're getting healthier, but start putting him in a better position for success. So, yeah, obviously running game, I want to see us establish that. But my player of the game, or like key to the game, is going to be Zevi. How is he going to operate that clock management? How is he going to protect the football? We can't have turnovers this game. That defense is going to be tight on us, so it's going to be tough. Can't play perfect is impossible, but you got to be damn near perfect when you're facing this defense. I'd say JMU's metrics ranking nationally, you also have to talk a little bit about their strength of schedule. They're like 120 in the nation, so it's tough. Like, their opponents overall haven't been super strong, so we got to take that with a grain of salt. I feel really strong though about our offense continue to improve week over week. So. Any other final thoughts on our offense, JMU's defense, before we flip it?
I'll add, if you were talking about like players of the game or impact players,
Yeah.
I'm gonna beat the drum. I've beat all year, but to me, yes, I would say Zevi is the guy in terms of taking, not making turnovers. But I'm gonna put on Danny Freund. Put us in positions where if I'm gonna give Zevi a nickname, if we've all watched the movie Maverick with Mel Gibson, he's a riverboat gambler. He makes, and you know what? In some of these games, you have to make those gambles. That's kind of how these games tilt in one direction. You just hope it goes in your favor. So my challenge is Danny Freund needs to be the impact player and put us in positions where those can be more to our advantage. Whether it's, putting ourselves in a third and short where, hey, open up the playbook on a third and short. Take a risk. It's okay. But when you're 3rd and 20, all right, let's get creative. There's no creative on 3rd and 20 or 3rd and 15. So Danny, help us get in those positions. And then, yes, it's on the players to make the plays, but help him and the team get in positions where they can take, I would say, low risk, high rewards, scenarios. And I think that to me is Danny Freund. Make it happen.
Love it. Before we move off offense, just want to acknowledge Cesar Lopez 3701. Appreciate you joining the chat. Go Cougs too. I agree. Noga, love what I've seen from him as of late. I feel like he continues to improve week over week, especially his route running. Love to see more of him. Love his size as a receiver. Just can't be turning over the ball 2 or 3 times a game.
He looks like he'd be pretty good over the middle. What do you think?
Middle of the field,
hunt route,
Sign me up for that. All right, fellas. On to my favorite topic. It seems to be. It's just the easiest thing I think to talk about. Give me, Joel. I'm just going to let you run with it. Give me your thoughts, high-level thoughts on the defense. Let's run at it, and then maybe throw in a little sprinkle on JMU's offense that you've seen so far. That's what I call defense. Let's go.
Let's do it. Yeah, brother. I mean, there's a lot of good that's going to happen, and we'll break down into the bits and pieces of what that means. But I think the biggest thing is just what Tucker Large had said, is taking away explosive plays. That's going to be key for us in the defense. We can prove how great we are in this game. I think this would be an amazing recruiting tool. And the boys are hungry. They're ready to rock. There's going to be a couple of times when we're chatting here. I'm going to say something real corny here, and I'm going to start it off right now. There's certain position groups that need to eat in this game, and they will. So, yeah, I would say overall, really just, getting the type of pressure that we need to get, where we need to get it, and really just showing this team that, like, oh, yeah, you put up some points before. It's not happening. Bring them into the deep waters. I think we can do that. So we'll talk about that. Let's talk about what that looks like. So, yeah, fellas, I mean, if you look at it, as I was watching a couple of the games here, yeah, they're like you said, they're either 9-2 or 9-1. But
9-2.
Yeah.
9-1. Okay.
I think they're 9-1.
9-1.
Yeah.
Yep, they're 9-1.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's like, it's looking at things like, oh yeah, they've got some, they've got some impressive abilities to put up some points, but I mean, there's some of the things that we should zoom into, honestly, or one of the things I wanted to talk about is one of the games that they did technically win was Georgia State. Georgia State did not play out well this year. I think they have 1 win this year, right? And they've had some points put up on them. They played against Ole Miss. I think it was like 60 something or almost 70 points to like 10. They've played some lesser knowns. Or not as well touted, but with a 1-9 record, the lowest score margin they had all year was against old amazing JMU. They held them to 74 passing yards. So that's one of the big things I want to see is that we keep them for under 150 pass yards. We can easily do that, and we'll talk about what that looks like. But what do you think, fellas? I mean, now, so much.
Like I said, it's easy to talk about. I mean, we've had a defense that's held their opponent under double digits 3 weeks in a row. I mean, that's one place to start. We've got a defense, too, that's, I feel like, unmatched compared to the last defenses in the past. Like, yards per game allowed, 168.9. That's 15th overall in the nation. We've only given up 7 TDs the last 6 games.
Yeah.
Like, let that sink in.
For the year. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's I mean, you just look at on paper, just the statistics we're putting up. We're number 55 in strength of schedule too. So it's like we don't have a cupcake schedule. We've been playing good opponents. So you have to like what you see from our defense and how they've been performing overall. Like I'm ecstatic. And I made this comment before, it's not the most electric defense. It's not like you now see guys on there and say, oh, that's a top 3 round guy taken. And that's not like a slight at the defense at all. I'd say, but where they match up at like against other defenses in the last 10, 15 years is their gap integrity, their ability to, and I feel like their improvement, like even if it's like a
week over week
tackling, you see tackling week over week, the last 3 weeks, there's a reason why they've held teams to single digit. So it's the things that we haven't been good at the start, we've improved. And then it's just our age in our secondary, like just how seasoned they are. I just feel like they really control the room probably in that locker room, I'd imagine, or at least those defensive meetings. I feel like they definitely run it. They're the ones talking the most. We're in the huddles before break. So yeah, I'm pretty jacked about this defense, fellas. So I mean, we're right on the cusp. We're of a bowl game, right? We're a 5-5. And just Rodgers too, just talking, and I know we'll get into like that conversation too on Rodgers. Maybe if Kyle, you want to get that clip ready for it. Mm-hmm. But just on the mindset that he brings to the defense, I don't know if was it the Tucker Large clip you have, Kyle, if you want to play that.
Tucker Large got me jacked up. And it was a couple things. Just one, you could just the presence he held. I mean, I could see him just talking to a room, or he walks in the room and everyone it just goes silent. Like, oh, hey, he might have something. Yeah, exactly. He commands the eyes, and then beyond that, just the way he spoke and the line that, I mean, I texted the group on this one after I watched it was, he made the note of, hey, there wasn't a lot of people in the stands, so we had to create our own energy. And I went like, hell yeah, that is the type of thing, that is the type of culture that needs to be in Pullman. Because you know what, Pullman, there's times when it's Thanksgiving break, right? People are going home. They want to see their family. Some people I knew for me when I was there, I'm 5-6 hours away from my little brother. Like, it sucks when you're gone, right? You have to make those sacrifices. And so it's a different culture. And it's so fun to see when we had Coach, I'm going to be nice and call him Dickert and not call him Dickhead, which I like to do.
You just did.
But in the words of Ricky Bobby, I say with all due respect. But he complained about not having fans in the stands. Okay, that doesn't change what you and 105 guys in your team do on the field, right? If you have to have fans in the stands to play good, go play Madden at that point. There's a bunch of guys in the stands for that and gals in the stands for that. But when Tucker said, yeah, there wasn't a lot of guys, we had to create our own energy, I go, Jimmy Rogers and company was the right guy for the job, because he creates the idea of you have to block out the noise. We don't care if they're there. We hope they're there because we're going to put a good product on the field. But it's you and your brothers in arms with the same jersey on that are going to dictate how we do in these games. And it got me so amped. I wanted to go put a helmet on and go play. So excited. And I think that's a culture, and that's a recruiting aspect right there. We care about one another and we are for one another, and everybody else, it's outside noise.
I love it. I absolutely love it. And so, I mean, I got to give my little bit. 1890 Club, guys. If you feel like Rodgers, he's spreading the gospel in that locker room. He's raising those kids or those young men as football players, but also as future alumni of this proud university. So, hey, do yourself a favor. Go to CougarCollective.com. Sign up for 1890 Club. I don't know. It's a couple sandwiches a month, maybe 2 or 3 Starbucks. It's not that much of a cost out of your pocket. And quite frankly, on Saturday, after watching a Cougar victory, I feel pretty good. So I'd say it'll pay itself back.
And hey, we're getting close to tax time. If you need a couple more deductions, I'm just saying it might.
That's a good question. I mean, I don't know if I want to dive into that yet, but I don't know if you can report that yet for the state of Washington. But I have to check.
It's a donation, right? Like it's a monthly donation. As long as I mean, again, I'm not a tax accountant, but
Don't quote us on that. That's off the record. Remove that from the podcast.
It's something to check in and see.
All right. Well, I mean, Joel, I mean, what are any other thoughts on just defense in general? I have some thoughts on just JMU's offense, but
yeah, it's funny. I was just going to say it's their offense specifically for our defense. Not that we're coaches, but from a fan perspective, there's a couple of things they should watch out for. They need to limit number 3 at all costs. Wayne Knight is a monster. I mean, Rogers talked about it. He's like his ability, and it's not just in the run game, but in the pass too.
Pass game.
He has the most receptions of their team.
We haven't really faced. I mean, I guess Ole Miss's running back. He caught a few out of the backfield, but I'm just trying to think of another another offense we ran into where it's like that. But they do throw the ball a lot to the running backs.
North Texas.
North Texas did too. They did more.
We weren't doing well tackling in space back then, so
we're better now. I'm not worried about that.
We're a lot better. I was like, we lock him down and Landon Ellis. I think that'll be the biggest things because they put up some impressive numbers, but when those folks are limited, the games where they were struggling like Georgia State or when they lost with Louisville, those folks were at their low. Their all-time low, and it shows. And also we want to make it difficult for Burnett to make decisions. I noticed that in those games where he faltered, it was when the pressure was coming and he's used to either I can tell that like he makes the decision to pass or to run typically before the play happens. Because if there's a moment where there's a twinkle and it's like, oh, okay, I got to switch now from like I was going to pass it and now I should run it. Like there's a hesitation that he has, because he's so used to having such a great O-line. But if you pressure him, which we can do, and their offense, honestly, their weak point, I know Rogers was saying like, oh, their offensive line is so great. I zoomed in, and not to pick, but number 52, he has a lot of weaknesses. I think our D tackles are the ones that are going to EAT or going to eat. I think that we should have 4 sacks minimum as a unit, and 3 of those sacks need to come from our D tackles. I think Sony Finne, I think Darian Dalton and Bryson Lamb could cause some problems. And so if we do that, we rock and sock Wayne Knight, we hold down Landon Ellis, and we pay attention to Joby Valerie, number 28, because he is a hoss. Then I think we can cause them to be confused. Like why do we not have any pass yards? Because I think a lot of what their pass game is built upon, like, oh, we're starting to stack it up in terms of touchdowns. And the only way they get there is when Burnett feels confident to make decisions. So we start causing him to move around. They don't do a whole lot of plays with him rolling out. There's a reason why. I think we can take advantage of it.
And you mentioned it. I mean, like you look at his stats. He's a sub 60% thrower. 5 picks, 16 touchdowns. So I feel like he's like when he makes a throw, more times than not, like if it's a good throw, it ends up for 6 or it ends up in a good result for him. But like you said, is that because he gets to sit in the pocket, not getting touched? Or if you get him on the run, it's when he struggles. And I mean, I'd love to go back and I'm kind of looking through the stats now of, where they're at. And he was 2,000 yards through 10 games. So that's it's about 200 yards a game. Yeah. So again, it's not a ton of yards. I think what's going to kill us is if we can't stop the run. Yeah, but I think, but if you look at their stats, they've got he's not a one-trick pony. He'll throw it to a plethora of guys, right? Yeah. But so if you look at how we've played the last few games against, good quarterbacks, a little bit of mobility, we've done really well. And I think we have to just play a similar game plan of, hey, force this guy to beat you in the air.
Yeah.
Don't let the running game get you.
Well, wow. Exactly. Yeah. We'll do it. I think at our best as a defense, we will cause him a lot of pain, a lot of headache. Mm-hmm. You want to get to a point where they end up switching to wishbone. There's times when they start struggling. That's when they bring in Sluka. They're like, okay, well, maybe we can try and get some yards. We start switching it up. Then we know we're doing something right if they end up having to switch to that formation.
Has he been brought in a few times during the season?
He
7-10, 2 TDs and 2 picks.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's always been when in moments of the game where Barnett is starting to have issues making decisions. You'll see it like where he's still trying to hit the check person and he's not starting. It's not happening. So they'll just it's like they're trying to do some type of special play. I think it's to get him to calm down.
And if Bobbitt, and if you're saying that he's a kind of a one-trick pony of he's making a predetermined decision before he snaps the ball, Bobbitt's going to have a field day going, I can screw with this guy all day long. And that's going to, like you said, your D-line are going to eat. When that guy gets confused, it's three, as a quarterback, you got 3 seconds in your head. That's the kind of the idea. And if the ball's not out because he's thinking about something else, usually there's a guy on top of you and you're going, well, I was on 5 and there's a reason why I'm on my back.
Exactly, man.
Yeah, my last thought on just how this game and just where I see they might try to attack us offensively, and that's on the outside perimeters, throwing to their running back. I see that as some vulnerability, especially in open field tackling. I'm going to put biggest thing on our defense is going to be our linebackers. How can we control that? Like, we can't miss tackles. I think that's going to be the biggest thing. So looking forward to it, boys. Any other final comments? I just want to get into this Vegas money lines,
right?
All the over-unders.
I know you do.
I'm doubled down on my DBs. I think the corners are going to be huge again. Humphreys, Colson. I think those guys are going to have to, again, set the edge, especially with a good run game. You're going to have those guys fly up and kind of just pin that guy or pin right back inside where McKenna and crew. Because, the one thing that we have is we've got some speed. I think that's why our gang tackling
flying downhill
has been insane comparative to the last decade. And I'm also going to attribute that to Rogers, Bobbitt, and just the teachings. But I think the corners are going to be massive. And I'm going to say 2 picks this week.
Let's go.
So leading to Vegas,
bunches.
2 picks.
So 2 picks. It's smelling like. I mean, we don't even know what the line is. I haven't told it yet, but it's smelling like an under. It's smelling like a defensive battle, I think, which I like. That's where my head's at. So we're looking at WSU. We are plus 13.5 point underdogs. I think that's mostly attributed to you look at we're on the road. JMU. They've averaged victories at home 30.8 points per game. So that's a tough stat to even think about. Obviously, their opponents are a little bit different than who we've been competing against. But last 6 games, you have to be pretty encouraged. WSU, they've only allowed 1.17 points per drive, which is elite. That's top 15 in the nation. So it's gonna be fun to watch. I feel like it's gonna be a fun little just tough-nosed defensive game. I'm going to go Cougs win 18-14.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Which
so it's 42.5 is our under, and Cougs 13.5 point dogs.
Okay.
So I'm going to say WSU covers that too.
I feel like I saw you brewing. I was like, what are you thinking?
I feel like it's, again, I'd love to know what the injury report is with our offensive linemen. What are we at? Like, if I go in there, if you tell me if I get 4 out of 5 starting linemen, I think we're putting 30 plus up.
Yeah.
You just see what we did last week, and I feel like we just got I feel like we default to cruise control so fast. And I feel like if we had the mindset of like, hey, I'm not satisfied with 28 points, we put more points on the board. And again, maybe it's we don't need Zevi to go a little too much riverboat gambler. He might get a little, okay, well, let's be a little more creative with the plays and let him cook. Because some of the throws he made, like that throw he made to Meredith on that 3rd and long, that was on the roll on the left side. That was beautiful. But I think if we got another lineman come, if we get a little more healthy, hopefully another lineman comes back. I think we're 30 plus, and I think I would say 33-28. It's gonna be an odd score.
So you're saying over?
You're taking the overs.
33. I'm going to take the over, but I'm going to say we cover the initial 13.5.
Okay, so it's sounding like the 13.5 is the lock of the week then. All right. Joel, give me something.
Man, you need so many good points, Kyle. You made a lot of confliction. I'm back and forth now. Like, that's true. That's true. Oh man, I'll say it like this. I'm gonna still say under, but I do think that we'll put up some points. And here's why. What our defense is used to is the exact opposite of what their defense is used to, right? Our defense is used to being in the deep waters, right? Being over and over and over again to ask to like, hey, hold the line, hold us, bend but do not break. I think if we can get their defense to a place where it's like, oh my goodness, this is close, I think they'll start drowning. I do. And the games where they lost or they almost lost, it was that you could see it. They were gassed. Their defense were starting to like literally rolling around. It was barely one person making the tackle. They were not swarming. It was the exact opposite sign that our defense has when we're in adversity. So if we can put them in that situation, and if we have 4 good, healthy, returning offensive linemen, we can put up some points. So that being said, I would say I'm going to be right around where you're at, Chad. I'm going to say that we can do – I'm going to say 21-7. Because I think that which would be a big game for us, considering how many points we usually put up, that's about where we usually land. But I think our defense, I think there could be one moment where, number 3 could leak and make a play. But I think overall we could shut them down to that point where they're just mentally and physically gassed. So that's what I'd love to see. Yeah.
Will sound like an under and cover also. We'll keep it safe then. We're going to call Coug cover as the lock of the week. Since we've been keeping track of this, we're 2 out of 3, so it's not bad. All right, fellas, it's been fun talking about Cougar football. Any other final closing thoughts? We obviously, like for me, like 5-5, one more win gets us to a bowl game. I want to clean house. I want to win the next 2 games. I want to get us to a decent bowl game. And I feel like 7 wins will definitely do that, especially with the opponents we played. So yeah, man, I'm excited. I'm see how we finish off, but feeling positive about it.
Love it. Same. And I'll add, I think it looks like Chris Myers on our staff is the recruiting coordinator. He needs to really pay attention. He needs to zoom in to these last couple of press conferences with our vets, with our seniors, the things that Buddha Paletti was saying, things that Tucker Large are saying, those things, like you just see it right from the source. You can feel the energy. You said it, Kyle. It made you want to strap up. Like they need to take those bits and pieces and make a compilation and show that to the recruits. Like let's, you talk about the Cougar Collective, we'll talk about the NIL. Like we need to show them also, like, this is what love looks like. This is how a team could like truly love and believe in each other. Like this is how we do things here in Coug Nation. So like that needs to be something that they pay attention to and make ample use of. Like you have an opportunity, it's there. They're casually saying things that shows their buy-in. Put it out there.
I love it, and I'll kind of piggyback off. Viewers out there, if you have the opportunity, go look at some of the press conferences that not only Tucker Large but Jimmy Rogers talk about. We have a clip, but I think I'll let you do it at your own leisure. But what Jimmy Rogers talked about is just the culture, what Bobbitt's done, and well, it's not always green on the other side. You see a lot of players out there. I mean, I think about Jaden Ott he was at Cal, killed it, goes to Oklahoma. He was a little banged up, but that's how quickly you can go from being a stud to riding the pine. And is that really what you want your collegiate career to be? I mean, I get that, everyone's trying to go pro, this and that. I mean, that's Division I football. You have to strive for that or you're behind. But at the same time, you got to create some memories. You got to create connections. And for this, and I see what Pullman brings. I mean, I lived it. We lived out there for my, my experience as a Coug, but it's a different place. And I think there's got to be the buy-in there. I think it's a culture that people can go, you know what, maybe I'm not going to make $100,000 or $50,000 or whatever it is, but I'm going to have memories. I'm going to have connections. And I'm going to have an experience where I'm going to succeed. I mean, and you look at this team, you look at that defense, that's a defense that you can bring back the core of that next year. Whew, scary, good times. The Palouse is going to be something, we think about the late 90s with the Leafs and even a little bit early with the Bledsoes. Those defenses were dirty. They were scrappy. And I think that's kind of the culture Jimmy has brought here. And I'm really curious to see what they retain, because I think, again, they develop, and you can see what they've done, right? Like, you see the players they have and we've brought over, they develop those guys, and you can see what they're doing on the field. To me, that's a huge recruiting point. Hey, we might not be able to pay you as good as Oklahoma or some of these bigger schools, but we're going to give you something that's invaluable, and that's essentially how to play the game better.
Love that. Yeah, not just coaching or being play callers. They're teaching. Like, they're being leaders. So
there's a value to that.
It's a huge value. But all right, gang, Coug Nation, thanks for listening today. Chad Kebba, we got Joel, we got Kyle. Thanks for joining us on the Palouse Playbook Podcast. Go Cougs.
Go
Cougs.